No contact works with dismissive avoidant, and I'll explain you why in this video. It's very important for you to understand why it works, because that situation is extremely confusing. Dismissive avoidant have a great ability to wear a mask, to show that they don't care. And so when you're in love with someone who behaves this way after a breakup, we feel that the only thing that will help me get back with them is to stay in touch. Because if I stop writing to them, texting them, or perhaps seeing them, they're gonna forget me. And they're gonna forget me, they're gonna move on, and even worse, they're gonna find someone else. They're gonna fall in love with someone else. That's the belief system you have right now. I'm gonna explain you in this video that no contact has a massive effect on dismissive avoidant, regardless of the signs that you perceive from them. Jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
The first thing is that they need space. The problem with dismissive avoidant, and I used to be dismissive avoidant, is that I used to be dismissive avoidant, they have a hard time explaining what they want, expressing their needs. And so when things are not going where they want to be, they withdraw, they say, this is too much for me, and they leave you. So very frequently, breaking up with a dismissive avoidant is kind of violent because we didn't see it coming. Giving them that no contact, that space, it's what they need. Okay, perhaps they didn't express that properly throughout the relationship, but that's what they need. And the very important thing about being dismissive avoidant is we hate to feel that we depend on someone. So for example, if I take the example of texting, when you do something and you know that your partner expects you to send a message when you've arrived at home and that you're safe, for example, after driving, or when you're going somewhere and just like, oh yeah, I'm there thinking about you. It's a really, really difficult thing to deal with as a dismissive avoidant. And when you're single, when you have that space, you don't feel that pressure anymore, that mental load that you depend on someone and that someone depends on you. So first effect of no contact. The second thing is what's called the phantom X. It's something that was explained in the book Attached by Dr. Amin Levin. It's very frequent amongst avoidants. The idea is that as soon as they detach from someone, as soon as the pressure from the relationship and the commitment is gone, then they will start realizing the good side of the relationship. They will start to realize the qualities in their partner. They don't have to suppress their feelings anymore, because that's what they do, avoidant. We have this deep need for connection, but avoidant, they decide to suppress, they decide to dismiss those feelings, those emotions. What we have to create with no contact is that realization that the shifting the idea from it's not working, and that's because of my partner. It's usually very frequent among dismissive avoidant. They're easy to live with, therefore, if there's a problem, it's because of their partner. Or, they're not ready for a relationship. When you make them go through a phase of no contact, they don't have the control anymore. This is where they could start freaking out. They could start to freak out. And they shift to, this is my partner's fault, to, wow, that's not what I want really. Because now I sort of put my ex on a pedestal. It's very frequent for avoidants to put their ex on a pedestal after they end a relationship, even if they are the dumpers. Because the tension from the relationship is gone, the tension from the commitment is gone. And this psychological phenomenon is something that I use with my clients all the time. Leveraging the good side of the relationship. Right now, they don't have the pressure anymore of being with you, of being dependent, of having those sort of communication. They don't know what to say, they don't know how to express, they don't know how to help you if you feel emotional. But they will remember those strong times together. The thing is, getting back with an avoidant, and I'll explain at the end, also depends on the sort of the strength of the relationship. It's okay to date an avoidant. The ultimate goal is to bring that relationship to more security from both sides. But there's an element of feeling, there's an element of love. Sometimes avoidants are just not into you, and I'll explain in a minute. Showing that you are secure, By going no contact, it's actually a form of communication. Very frequently, being with an avoidant creates this anxious avoidant trap. Even if you felt secure in other relationship, with that person you felt uneasy. You felt like you needed to connect. You needed to prove them something. And by going no contact, you stop immediately trying harder and harder to connect, trying to address things, trying to discuss things, trying to get something from them, trying to get them to react. You stop playing that game. And that's the best way for you as well to reflect and calm down those strong emotions. I know that when we're in touch with our ex, it creates a lot of anxiety, because anytime we send a message, the time between the message is sent to the time they reply, it's awful. And you'll be waiting for your phone to ring, waiting for your phone to buzz. And you could be waiting for that for days, and it's not something I wish you for. So no contact is actually, from a mental health point of view, when I work with my clients, I think it's really helpful to have this phase of no contact just for yourself. Think about yourself right now. Look at how you can heal some aspect of codependency that you've built with that relationship. Decide what you want, what you don't want. Use that space for you right now, and don't think about your ex for a while. Should you break no contact? The answer is it depends. Okay, that's really helpful. My point is, I think it's okay to break no contact at some stage, because you don't want to wait forever. I understand that sometimes it's good to entertain hope, and I'm a very optimistic person, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want you. As simple as that. Okay? So I see sometimes people who accept just the breadcrumbs that their ex is providing them. And sometimes we feel used, or sometimes we don't see that we are being used from that narcissistic side of that person who wants to keep us on the hook. You don't want that, right? There are times when avoidants lose feeling and interest. That's a true fact, okay? Would no contact revive their feelings? That's the thing. It's not magical. So don't believe anyone saying like, you go no contact and you're gonna get your ex back. You go no contact and it will work 100% of the time with avoidant. It also depends on the true nature of the relationship. No contact is simply a reset. The problem with avoidant is that pressure from commitment, from intimacy. By going no contact, you're removing those pressure. Now, of course, you need to get in touch with them at some stage. If you want to be together, you have to see them, you have to speak with them, you have to touch them at some stage, and so on and so forth. The way to do it is to use effective communication. And when you use effective communication, when you're more secure in your behavior, in your communication, you sort of diffuse any sort of possibilities of them to deactivate. So when avoidant withdraw, we call it deactivation strategies that avoidant put in place not to attach with someone. So no contact is just a framework. It's just something that helps you set the ground for recovery. On its own, it's useless. Going no contact is usually the best course of action when you deal with an avoidant, because it's removing all the tension, all the pressure that will force people or push people to withdraw. But it's not on its own, it's useless. If you have any question, if you feel like, okay, it's been 1 month, it's been 2 months of no contact, or I've been in no contact and he reached out, I don't know what to say, what to do, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm conscious that when I make my videos, it's kind of one size fits all approach. And I know that, and I see that otherwise I wouldn't really like my job if everything was always the same. I know your situation is unique, and I'd love to discuss with you and help you sort of get unstuck if you feel stuck right now. So have a look, there's a link to book a 15-minute call with me just to get to discuss together. Other than that, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.